Hey everybody, so this one's been a little bit mental and somebody didn't put up a Halloween cocktail video, and in a last minute kind of ditch effort to make up for my sins, I thought that I would make a Halloween cocktail guide because I really do think it's less about individual cocktails and it's much more about how to make your life easy and not be stuck behind a bar while your friends are over and you're having fun, but still do something a little bit, maybe possibly, more interesting than just mixers and spirits. So if you're throwing a party or just want to help out one of your friends who is, then maybe this will help out. Stay tuned for some more tips. To be honest, my favorite thing to do if I'm having about 15 plus people over is to make one big cocktail punch, and then I'll have wine and beer and possibly some straight spirits that they can mix or drink neat. And I think the trick to making kind of the perfect punch is making it really, really strong. Definitely don't dilute it at that stage. Now, some of my favorite recipes, depending on the holiday, for Halloween, I'd probably do something whiskey based, probably bourbon based, with maybe some fresh apples, maybe a little bit of Goldschlager, if you like that kind of stuff, a little bit. You need something to kind of cut that down though, so maybe some lemon juice or some fresh orange juice. Yeah, anyway, you have fun with that. This isn't a recipe video, but those are some ideas, and I'm sure that there's tons of Halloween punch recipes online that you can search for. Maybe I'll look for some and put them in the down bar once this is done being recorded. But recipes aside, I think the most important thing is to have one big piece of ice or ice cube. And the point of having the big ice cube is that it has a much smaller surface area, and this allows for it to melt a lot slower, kind of like a big piece of ice would do in a glass, and this helps keep it as strong as possible for as long as possible. Nobody wants a completely watered down punch because it's just gonna taste gross and yeah, it's not pleasant. Definitely better to have 1 or 2 strong cups of punch instead of 5 cups of some dirty, gross water stuff, kind of like a wine cooler, which I hate. Anyway, my tip for that is just use a kind of bowl. Yeah, this is from like Valentine's Day, I think, but the size was kind of what I was after. Just something like this. All you have to do is fill it up with water, stick it in the freezer, give it 12 hours maybe, I guess, I don't know, and just put it under a little hot water to pop it out, and boom, right into your punch it goes. Extra tip, if you're feeling especially adventurous and or crafty and or have some time on your hands, you can put some extra botanicals or fruit or whatever into the ice, and then once that starts to melt into the drink, it'll give it a little bit of extra flavor. So you can put some fresh orange zest, you can put other fruits, pretty much fruit. I don't know, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I guess you could put some herbal pieces, but that would kind of get gross as it melts down. So yeah, play around with it, see what works, or you could do something really Halloween inspired and put like googly eyes and stuff like that in, which might look really cool. So yeah, first tip. Next thing is, don't make a big fuss out of things that don't need a big fuss made out of, i.e. we're not going to be putting wine in unnecessary decanters all night because they're Halloween shaped. No, instead, if you have a bottle of wine, this is just a bottle that somebody brought over, what you can do is take these awesome stickers, or just print out your own from online. I got these at Target in a set of 4 for $1, so I don't think that's too bad. And all you have to do is, as I kill my poor plant, is put them right around the bottle. And this one says RIP, and there's other ones that say like dying of thirst, hair-raising spirits, that's kind of cute, and ghoul times. And it just makes it a little bit more festive. But it's super, super simple to do, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. So I think that's kind of one way you can dress it up, keep the party theme going, but you don't have to bend over backwards to make it happen, which I think is really, really important. If you're throwing a smaller party, or you're just crazy like I sometimes am, and you do want to have some individual cocktails that aren't just a punch at your party, my best advice is to batch make them and put them into bottles. Now these happen to be some really, really cute bottles that I picked up at a craft store. I can't talk today. This one says poison. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to see that, but yeah, poison, eye of newt, and black cat, whatever that means. Black cat juice. So you can make Vespers in this one, and then in this one you can make a Manhattan, and maybe in this one you're making whiskey sours. And then all you would have to do is have a cocktail shaker full of fresh ice and leave your guests to it. They can just pour it straight into the cocktail shaker, give it a whirl, and yeah, serve. And I think it's kind of fun, interactive, and a cool way to get your guests involved without making them feel overworked. And it's playful, and I think that's the whole point. Definitely something playful that's easy and fun. This isn't something for like a major rager party, because I think, first of all, they're potent cocktails, so it's going to get you pretty drunk pretty fast, which I know isn't really a problem for Halloween, but proceed with caution. But second of all, you'd probably have to make mass amounts, mass amounts, and you could. I don't know, I don't think it's the most practical thing. But obviously it's personal preference, so do whatever you want. I just think that's kind of a really cute, fun idea and stress-free, so that's also the important thing. You definitely don't want to be stirring and mixing and shaking all individual drinks that you have to have your whole bar out right in front of you that night. It's just, you're not working, you're supposed to be socializing, right? And for my final tip, yes, it's a pumpkin. I think one of the coolest things I've seen done with a pumpkin is just to put a tap in it and then serve pumpkin or seasonal beer straight out of it. Here's the thing though, it looks really cool, it's great for parties, but it does kind of affect the carbonation of the beer. So I say proceed with caution. Personally, I haven't done this before, so I really can't speak from experience. I know that's naughty of me not to have tried it out first. But I think since the pumpkin won't really impart that much flavor and it will mess up the carbonation of the beer, I wouldn't put in all the beers at once. I would get a small pumpkin like this and hollow it out. And once I put in the tap, I would actually sprinkle a little bit of cinnamon sugar in it while it's empty. Now, beer snobs probably would hate me for saying that, and it's not the most pure way of drinking it, but if you have friends who do casually like beer and they like having pumpkin beer out with the cinnamon rim, it would work quite well. And then the only thing your guests would have to do is open the beer of their choice and pour it through the pumpkin with the cinnamon sugar, which will, you know, dissolve a little bit into their beer, and it'll be a little bit fall flavored, but not anything too heavy. I would say keep just a bowl of that cinnamon sugar on the side and a spoon, so then every time that somebody puts a beer through, just they can sprinkle a little bit more sugar, because I think it will probably dissolve with the first or second run through of beer. Now I do have some beer suggestions. So one of my favorite pumpkin beers of the season is the Dogfish Head Pumpkin Ale. It's not pumpkin ale, it's pumpkin ale. And yeah, it's a full-bodied brown ale brewed with real pumpkin, brown sugar, allspice, cinnamon, and nutmeg. I got into Dogfish Head, gotta admit, just because I was watching their show on Netflix, and I forgot what it's called, and they had a whole episode pretty much on the pumpkin ale, and I'm like, right, I need that in my life, and I wasn't disappointed. So yeah, definitely a good pumpkin beer if you're into that kind of thing. And another choice that's not pumpkin beer, because I don't think everybody likes pumpkin beer, is the Harpoon Rye IPA. I think it's still very seasonal. It has much more of a bite to it than the other pumpkin beer I just mentioned does, and it's kind of a nice refreshing beer, whereas I think most of the pumpkin beers are quite spiced and they're not gonna kind of have that same zing and zap that some people like in beer. So I think it's a nice option. Another option is to do a stout. That would also taste really, really awesome, I think. Right, so those are all my Halloween tips. I hope they help you a little bit and make your life a little bit easier. Have an amazing Halloween. If you like what you saw here, maybe you want to subscribe or like the video so I know that you liked it. Leave a comment if you're having a party and what you're dressing up as. I'm going as Ginger Spice a little bit late to a Kate Nash concert. Yeah, so that's gonna happen. With that said, actually, I would really, really, really appreciate it, and my friends would too, if you go watch my last video, which is the Girl Power video. And I want to share it with Kate Nash as many times as possible, because I think doing an interview with her as part of the music series and getting her involved in making the drinks would be so much fun, and I think it would be a really cool video for you guys too. So if you could help me out with that, I would love you forever and ever and ever and ever. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I will be putting up these tips on my website, mixelleogy.com, so make sure to check that out. And feel free to talk to me on Twitter and Facebook and everything else. And that's the end of my self-promotion for this video. So yeah, I will talk to all of you really, really soon.